Hey, welcome to the second episode of the Reset series. Woohoo! I'm so excited to share more about this endeavor that I'm going on by myself. I'm bringing you along with me actually, so technically I'm not by myself. But in my previous video, I went into a little bit of detail of the Reset series that I'm going on, and this is the first one, and it has to do with my hair is a little out of whack because of this scarf. Anyways, it has to do with mentality. That's the first pillar in this reset series. I'm gonna go a little bit into detail of that and why that is one of my major pillars. I have some notes, so if you see me looking down, that is why. I just want to start off with the fact that we are all conditioned through a school education system that with a set routine. So when we're in stuck in or not stuck, but when we're in that routine for so long, so many years, like you go to school, you know what time you're going to each of your classes, you're changing, you're doing stuff, you're doing taking lunch, you're coming back home, you're doing whatever. You are conditioned. I was conditioned and I had a set routine and I appreciated that routine after I went through it because I tend to just go with these routines. Once I was out of school and I was looking for my first job out of college, I realized, wow, this routine, excuse me, once I was out of school into college, I realized, wow, this routine that I had in school really helped, really had me out here being productive because I had to. You know, when you're kind of forced, and then once you have a job, especially in corporate, in corporate, corp, in corporate, especially in corporate, you are conditioned to do certain tasks and certain things within a time period, within this time frame, right? So I appreciate routines. I appreciate what I was able to learn through my education, but I wish it wasn't that expensive. That's another topic that you can you can learn these things by yourself, honestly. You can learn how to set a routine by yourself. But that also takes discipline. But that's another one to go. We're gonna go into that. So my relationship with school was like good because like there was so much structure behind it, and that routine that I had was absolutely necessary for my progression in life. And now that I'm looking back, I see what how integral that was for my development. And how I see that I need that now and I need to implement that more because it's necessary. When you are not saying that it has to be super strict, but a certain structure in order to accomplish things is necessary. And that's one of the first things. When I was in school, I was also doing sports. And that mentality around sports was absolutely crucial for the time that I was in college because I was doing things I didn't want to do, but I was seeing results in other pillars. And the way that that impacted my self-esteem was crazy. But you don't realize that until after the fact or during the fact. Actually, you can realize it, but you're going to hate it in the beginning. Just like I'm not like I'm excited, but that doesn't mean like I'm super like I'm ecstatic. I want to utilize this time in my adulthood better because I have so much freedom. And that's the thing. When you realize you have freedoms, you can get really lazy and you can procrastinate. And I'm such a big dreamer and ambitious that I need a certain routine actually because I can't simply just be like rah rah rah, rah rah rah, just go. No, I need to get my shit together because literally being in a routine forces you, and I'm gonna use force because literally it does, and force in a good way because not everything that you're forced to do is forced in a bad way. If that makes sense, I don't know. I'm probably whatever, blabbering. Last year, I started off the year was like, I'm not gonna date. I'm gonna take some time for myself, especially online dating, because that messes with your mentality a lot. It messes with your mentality, girl. So stop. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Anyways, I started going to a therapist. Long story short, with the therapist, it didn't work out because she just this therapist was triggering me in ways that I didn't need to be triggered, and I realized that too late in terms of like changing therapists. So I took a break from that, but I'm not saying that therapy is not good, and therapy can really help you. Therapy can help you because it opens up different pathways of thinking for you. It can just bring a lot of clarity. And so one of the goals for this year is to get counseling sessions done, because that's going to be coming out of pocket, because it's necessary. You need somebody that's unbiased about your life to weigh in on occasion, not all the time, and during seasons, not all the time. But you do need that outside input in order to just like position yourself to do better. To position yourself to do better, because you are capable of doing great things. One person can move a mountain. At least that's what I think. All of these things transitioning into being without a job. So I don't know if I mentioned it again, but 2 months ago, no, late November, I was laid off. And dude, getting out of that routine and then trying to figure out what to do with all this free time that I had was crazy. And I was just not feeling it, and I haven't been feeling it at all. You shouldn't go based on feeling. I mean, you're allowed to do whatever, but you shouldn't be going based on feeling. You should be literally treating yourself as the adult you are if you're an adult. But gentle parenting, dude, I've been gentle parenting myself. It's not an easy task to be nice to yourself and not put yourself down, because we're our first haters. So, one of the achievables, I'm not calling it goals, the achievables that I'm doing for myself during this reset series and mentality is getting a counselor. That's the first one. Mention that. I am going to be reading about 2 books a month. And that's on the low side. Like, you could read more than 2 books a month. But these are going to be books that enhance my understanding of myself because of the people that are writing it, and the people who are like the stories that are being shared within these books. So some of them are going to be in personal development, some of them may be fiction, who knows, but it's just widening my understanding of the world within myself. You have a world within yourself. You are your own person. I am also listening to a lot of positive things too, because whatever you feed yourself, you become. That comes with what are you watching and what are you listening to. You're gonna feel like that. So just something that's like literally, I'm talking to myself, dude. This is not to motivate you. This is to literally bring about my own self to the forefront, so I can see what the heck I'm doing wrong, or what I consider is wrong with my life, because it is not fixed. Nothing is fixed unless you go around fixing it. Nothing is, you know, set in stone. You can always change. So that's why I'm changing. I consume a lot of media. So all these videos, all these movies, all these shows that I'm watching, I like to analyze myself, my relationships with other people through that media. I think that's a good self study, because how can you relate? How do you see? Why do they react the way that they react? Would you have reacted differently if you were in their shoes and stuff like that? Like, you don't always necessarily need to go through things yourself. You can act as if you are somebody else and see how you would have been if you have taken the steps that they've taken as well. I feel like that's a good self study. Not a lot of people talk about that. Not a lot of people take those examples for themselves. I like to look at others, to look at movies, TV shows, and maybe even fictional books and stuff like that, and see myself through them. What can you become? Who are you? How? Why don't you like them? Oh my God, that's so big. When you don't like people, why don't you like them? What do you see in them that you also have yourself? but you don't want to acknowledge it. Rage. And me, I'm very, very headstrong, if you haven't noticed. When I don't like somebody, they're gonna know because either they've done something that was just not it, or I don't know, I just feel the vibe. I'm an empath, guys. I just, I don't know, I get certain vibes, and I'm just like, no, this person's not for me, and I just don't spend time around them. It's simple. I don't stir up problems. Like, I'm not a, first of all, I don't like confrontation, but if it's needed, I'm gonna do it. I think there's a lot of self discovery through liked and consumed media. So like right now I'm learning a lot of just like background and considering the times that we're living, a lot of politics and ones and stuff. But I'm not gonna talk about that, so don't even. And just like history. So I'm learning a lot through that and seeing how that's affected me and why that's affected me, you know? And that has an impact on my mentality around the world and how I see it. So that's why that's important. Also, I believe in God, and I'm not going to force anybody or talk about my spiritual journey, but that's another achievable that I'm doing. So, all of these things, I'll be sharing bits and pieces of just ways that I've been enlightened by different things, especially through just meditating and just like focusing time to pray for myself, because that's a form of discipline as well. Not everything comes from you. Like, yes, you are source, you are the universe, I believe. But there are things that have to come with intense focus, with intentional focus. Intentional focus, guys. And then we got hobbies. I love hobbies. I, like I said in my previous video, I write a lot. I have a vlog and I'm gonna share it with you because I share more of my mentality, and I'm gonna be writing actually all of these reset series. Like, I've written them out, kind of like a script, but I can't really stick to a script. Let's be real. I'll have points and I'm going to talk on those points. And I'll probably go into more detail in these reset series episodes written, because those are just well thought out. They're well thought out and they're good to look at. Like, go check out the blog. It's a journey through youth. It's going to be linked below. So, poetry is one of the things that helps my mentality. It helps me understand things, how I work, how I do things, and why I do things, or understand other people and their reactions to me or their actions towards me. Like, these are things that I work out through poetry. I love poetry. It's just a beautiful way to say things that you can't say. Because I can't be saying up to people like that. The people that you surround yourself with. I've been more intentional with doing that, limiting time with certain people, and just being in a community that is good for your mentality, because whoever you surround yourself with is who you become. You've heard that before, I'm sure. Whoever you surround yourself is who you become. Okay? So that's why I've been more intentional with that. So achievables, curating a better circle for myself. Because I can do that. I have control. I have the control. So all those four things, just like basic, basic things I already do. And mind you, I'm not doing things out of pocket, like all of a sudden. Like, these are not new things. These are things I already do, but the act will be more intentional. And I'm gonna be sharing more of those. What I'm learning through all of these things that I'm doing more intentionally. So then it can stick. When you learn and understand something and you're able to explain it, it's so much better, because that is also now ingrained in you. So, with that understanding, that this is how I'm ending this reset series episode of mentality. When I do more videos on mentality, we'll go more. We'll go more in detail. But I think maybe I'll just do like a playlist of the different resets or something like that. Who knows? We'll go with the flow for now. But if this is something that you relate to or are looking to also improve on, maybe subscribe or leave a comment below on how you're doing your own achievables and how you're resetting yourself, because it's never too late to reset yourself. It is never too late to start anything. If you choose to do so right now, if you fail today, start again tomorrow. Come on. Just this is why I'm here, because I'm going to be an example, not a motivator, an example of how You're gonna watch me fail a couple times, and that's gonna be okay. Why? Because I'm gonna continue to show up. I'm gonna continue to show up regardless, because I've already committed, and I'm actually enjoying talking about this, because this is real. This is life. This is what we need to do. We need to talk about these things more, and not in a playful sense, and not like somebody trying to sell you something on how to improve your life in 30 days, like, or 9, whatever. Like, you can do so much in the span of 90 to 6 months, bro. Like, you can do anything. You can really do so much. And I just want to share where I am. And this is something that I'm implementing for myself. There is going to be certain templates that I set up for myself to track these things, especially when it comes to the next episode. So that's the end of this. I'm going to leave it at that. If you want to continue reading on this one, it's going to be on the vlog, on the blog, on Journey Through Youth, and it's going to be linked below. I'll see you. Take care and reset.